Today is a snow day for a lot of people. Jeep. Woo. Rap. It's cold. I can't tell where my driveway starts and where it ends. There's son of overclocked. He's gonna rest today. And I'm not even gonna try and back out of this driveway. Today is a snow day for a lot of people. Not for me. We are on a delayed start, but the office is open, which means I get to go in. But I thought I would take you guys along for a jog this morning. What it looks like we have maybe an inch or so down here on the road. Not a lot. All the schools pretty much around here though are closed. Partly because of the snow, but more likely because of the cold. It's just supposed to be frigid today, so a lot of the schools have trouble when it gets this cold keeping the classrooms warm, so I understand them wanting to close things down a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and four-wheel drive it because I live in the future and I can do that whenever I want. So for those of you who aren't used to driving in conditions like this, bless your hearts, I'm sure there's a few of you out there. There's two parts to the equation when it comes to operating a vehicle. Actually, three parts when it comes to safely operating a vehicle in snow and ice conditions. Starting, stopping, and steering. I think those are the three main ones. Maybe I'm wrong. If you think there's more or they're different, let me know. But I think those are the three primary ones. Like if I was trying to teach my son to drive, I'd be like, look, going is one, but stopping is probably the most important because it doesn't matter what you're doing. If you can't go, at least you're mostly fine. If you can't steer, at least you can stop. And if you can't stop, you're pretty much just screwed. So yeah, stopping is important, steering next. Now I'm going to do them in order, right? Stopping, steering, and going. So a lot of people put it in four-wheel drive and they're like, man, I've got traction, I can go. But they don't often think about the fact that four-wheel drive doesn't necessarily help you stop. Now, I will argue that it does to a degree help you stop in the fact that you now have some torque, engine braking, so to speak, on the front differential that you didn't have before. Instead of it just free spooling, it will sort of do some engine braking. This road is notoriously nasty with these curves, and people don't know how to drive. And almost always I find people in the ditch around here. So we'll see. In weather like this, I carry snow boots, snow pants, a heavy jacket just in case, gloves. Even though I don't expect to have any problems myself, my chances of running into somebody that needs help go up pretty significantly. Especially on these winding two-lane back roads. And guys like that, you know, the Mustang, his vehicle wasn't designed for this weather. Hey, looks like we made it through the treacherous part without finding anybody in the ditch. That's always nice. All right, so I did have a request to talk about my headlights from one of my subscribers. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to talk about sort of just Jeep lighting, headlighting in general. Now, the lights that I have, if you haven't seen them, I have an orange halo. It's actually an amber halo, which, you know, amber is just another shade of orangish yellow. But orange is the accent that I go with, if you haven't noticed. Even my four-wheel drive light is in orange, which I'm turning off now because we're out of the slippery stuff. So anyway, so I have orange halos. You can get those lights with different colored halos. The lights that I'm running, which is really the question, right, is tell me about your lights. And if you're not familiar with what lights I have, you can go look at some of my other videos where I show the actual front of the Jeep, or at the end of this video, there's an end screen that has a picture of my Jeep with the halos on. And they're, you know, sort of bumping to the music. Now, they don't bump in real life. That's some fancy video editing I did there. But anyway, I know you knew that. They're generic, cheap. You can buy them on Amazon. I'll throw a link in the description for you. They're just cheap LED lights with a halo ring. And they've held up really well, actually. I've had them for, heck, I think it's been 2 years now. They, you know, some people have good luck with them. I've had good luck. Other people, you know, have had horrible luck. They burn out, they suck, they flicker. I do have anti-flicker harnesses on them. And then I did an interesting wiring setup with my halos. Now the halos can also be set to flash when your blinker's on, but I didn't wire that because honestly, my opinion is I think it's silly to have a flashing halo right next to a flashing blinker that are the same color. So what I did is I wired the halos into a 3-position switch down below, and the 3 positions are the default, which I leave it on right most of the time. It's on there right now, is on when the vehicle's on. So it's on the accessory circuit. So when my Jeep is on, whether I've auto started it, whether I've started it manually, doesn't matter whether I have headlights on or not, the halos are on if the Jeep's on. All right, so that's where I keep it. The middle position is off. I can turn them off at any time, and I do that quite frequently, and I'll explain why. The 3rd position is the always on, the 12-volt constant circuit, and in that one, I can turn it on whenever I want, whether the Jeep's on or on. I just flip that switch on, my halos come on. I use that when I'm parking at meet and greets or, you know, Jeep shows or car shows or whatever. So that's kind of fun. I don't use that very often, but most of the time I leave the halos on. When I need to turn it off though, sometimes I'm hanging out waiting for my son in a parking lot and I'm all blacked out. I don't want the halos glowing orange. I don't want people to know I'm hanging out in the parking lot for an hour, so I'll usually turn them off so that I'm completely blacked, and I use them for that. And the other reason why I black them out is because they provide horrible interference with my CB radio. And I've tried everything to resolve that interference. It doesn't matter if my antenna's in the front, if it's in the back. I've tried wiring different routes to try and get it to clear up. I've wrapped the halo driver circuitry in foil tape. I've tried grounding it. I've tried what are the magnet core things that you wrap the cable around. I've tried everything to eliminate the CB interference, but I just can't get rid of it. The LED lights themselves don't interfere at all, but the halos, when I flip them on, my CB, you know, I've got to squelch it way up or way down. I don't know what the proper term is. I got to turn the squelch knob up in order to, you know, and then I lose a lot of range on my CB, which defeats the purpose of having this big old antenna on the front of this hood with a huge ground plane. So yeah, I turn it off. And so when I'm in a convoy and I want good CB communications, I turn my halos off. When I'm on the trail and I want good CB communications, I turn my halos off. So that is why I turn them off. And it sucks, but it is what it is. Now again, these are cheap, I don't know, a couple $100 headlights. They have other headlights out now that you can change the color of the LED halo. Mine are just static, pick a color, there it is. So there are a lot of other lighting options out there, a lot more expensive and arguably better quality options. Truck lights and JW speaker come to mind almost immediately. Now there's also some other options like having them retrofitted. So there's a local shop here in Central Maryland called Retrofit Factory, and they will retrofit HID lights into your Jeep and or actually a lot of vehicles. They do a lot of different vehicles, and they can put halos and demon eyes and angel eyes and all kinds of other stuff on there for you. Those are a little bit more expensive because they're basically handcrafted and custom built for you with your specifications. Somebody got stopped. I wonder why. Certainly not speeding. Nobody's going that fast. Anyway, that is the lights. That was a ramble about headlights, but hey, I'm answering a question you guys have. If you want me to talk about any specific topic while I'm out jogging around, feel free, let me know, and I will try and cover it. So anyway, the roads are not as treacherous as I expected, to be honest with you. You know, my neighborhood, once we got out of there, it was a little sketchy in that area, but once we got out of there, boom, it's just basically wet pavement. And everybody's driving like normal people, which is also a bonus. So it's almost 8 o'clock in the morning. I think I missed most of the early morning drama, the first early lighters getting out there on fresh virgin snow roads, but yeah, thankfully not an issue now. Jeep wave. I don't know if she waved at me or not. I think she might have. Jeep! Hey, I got a Jeep following me. Jeep! I feel like that yellow truck just gunned it. Something I would do. Yeah! Man, look at this wind. Yowza! That is Tino up there. You know how I know? That's why. Here you have two extremes of how to stop at a red light. You have the far away from the line and the over the line. Usually somewhere in the middle is where most people go, but you know, there we go. You hear me talking about you, don't you? I feel like he's like, hey, that dude's talking about me being too far away. There's a Jeep. See if we can get a Jeep wave. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. There's another Jeep. Can we get another one? Man, we're kind of far away. Nope, no wave. That's all right. A lot of distance between us and them. And she was holding a coffee, so she has priorities. I get it. Jeep! Jeep! With a box. Jeep! What's he doing? Oh, he must know that dude. I feel like I'm going into a wind tunnel sideways. Woo! Drifty! This would be a crappy road to be delivering mail on. So anyway, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.